Hey guys, what's going on? John here from What's Spinning, here tonight to chat about this new Full of Hell album, Weeping Choir. Full of Hell are a Maryland-based grindcore, Powerviolence, whatever you want to call it, band. And in the metal world, they've been actually one of my favorite acts in the last couple of years. Now, in the early years, with albums like Roots of the Earth or Consuming My Home, I really feel like I didn't get what Full of Hell were going for. There were elements of noise and sludge metal, but I just kind of felt like they were shying away from where they should be sounding at the time. But around the time of their Rudiments of Mutilation album, Yes Please, this was a much grislier and over-the-top album that was just in your face at every second. It was darker, it was murkier, and it just seemed leaps and bounds ahead of everything that they'd done up until this point. And 2017's Trumpeting Ecstasy, like, hell yes, this is a good album. One of my favorite metal albums of the year. It's genuinely experimental, but it also absolutely rips. Not to mention, like, over the years, they've worked with so many great artists on split albums and EPs. Everybody from Myrrh's to The Body to Nails. And I feel like they've taken a little bit away from each collaboration. Now, these new singles have had me very excited because not only are they just as in your face, but genuinely experimental as well. And that excites the hell out of me. Let's chat about this new Full of Hell. This album starts off with Burning Myrrh, and oh boy, right off the bat, this is great. It's a crushing start with guttural screams coming at you from all directions, all over a pulverizing riff. Like, at 24 minutes, like, you're damn right, Full of Hell don't waste a lot of time. Like, to say that this is a dark track would be actually, like, undermining it. Like, to quote SpongeBob, this is advanced darkness. Yes, I just quoted SpongeBob on a freaking Full of Hell review. Like, no, listening to this track and most of this album makes me feel like I'm zooming through hell, getting jump scared by God only knows what at every twist and turn. Like, who needs coffee when you have tracks like this? With Haunted Arches, Full of Hell prove that there is no rest on this album. This is an even more ridiculous track with screeching wails and a ridiculous riff. Not to mention guttural, inhuman growls that seem to haunt this entire album. All the while, the sheer insanity of the guitars and everything else here is just slapping you in the face constantly. That's right, my friends, Full of Hell are freaking back. Aria of Jeweled Tears starts off with this freaking riff that sounds like damn gunshots. It's times like this that you have to look at the band's name, Full of Hell, and realize, hell yeah, this is gruesome. But in one of my favorite twists on this entire album, on this track, there are actually some very human screams buried underneath everything. It's something that they've toyed with in the past, but it actually gets me going every time. Later on, Ygramul the Many is freaking pulverizing. I love the sort of breakbeat style to this one, and the way that each riff just kind of piles on and on and on top of each other, just creating this massive, punishing riff. Like, listening to tracks like this, I feel like something is after me and I keep barricading the door, but whatever it is, keeps getting through and I just have to keep making more and more barricades. It's so exciting, it's so chaotic, and genuinely freakish. By the way, what the hell is going on with this jazzy breakdown at the end of this track? Just hell yes. Now, there's like one or two tracks here that don't do it for me as much, but for the most part, this is a freaking great metal album. Rainbow Coil kind of stops me on my tracks in, like, not the best way. I kind of, like, don't really like the more noisy approach to this track. I just feel like this was, like, a sound that they've come away from. Like, it's exciting, and it's in the moment, and it's certainly ugly. And the vocals, of course, are freaking gruesome. But I just kind of thought they were beyond this sound, and that they're better than this at this point. And call me nuts, but I feel like Downward is maybe a little faceless. Like, I love the bass-heavy riff and the continued in-your-face roughness. But I just feel like there's so many other tracks here that do this sound so much more justice. But the rest of this album is very impressive and show that Full of Hell actually has a lot of tricks up their sleeve and are, like, really pushing out some genuinely experimental and weird territory. Thundering Hammers early on shows them harkening back to their sludge metal roots. And honestly, that's fine by me because the freaking production here is crushing. And as far as this sludgy sound goes from them, this is actually very fresh because it shows Full of Hell attacking at all angles with it, which is something they never were able to do in the past. It's disgusting. It's inhuman. Honestly, it's right where I want to hear these guys right now. And the last pummeling 20 seconds is so ridiculous. God, I love this band. And Armory of Obsidian Glass, is easily one of the most impressive and incredible metal tunes that this band has ever put together. This is without a doubt in my mind the most progressive track here. Obviously, they're going back to their sludge metal roots once again, and Full of Hell are taking their time. Usually I wouldn't be into that, but the results are some of the most experimental bars of this entire album. This is rowdy, apocalyptic, and genuinely grim all at once. And their work with the body in the past is shining through here in a big way because those gospel vocals haunting the background are such an incredible touch. And the dueling vocals here between the wailing screams and the guttural growls are really fantastic as well. And this is a 7-minute track, folks. I'm not really used to hearing a lot of tunes like this from Full of Hell. Even the last minute here has some black metal vibes. Where did that come from? Full of Hell have been soundtracking the apocalypse for years now, but never has it come off this epic and this interesting, and I've never had this much to say about them. Silmaril, on the other hand, takes off very quickly. Of all the tracks here, this actually might be the wildest, which is saying something. And I really love the chugging riff here. In a weird way, this comes off like a blackened rock and roll tune. I mean, of course, it disintegrates into freaking God knows what by the end of it, but hell yeah, this rocks. And just when I thought this album couldn't get any more off the rails, we get Angels Gather here, and what the hell even is this? The production here is amazing and so over the top. I've never heard this from them. It's moments like this that I honestly feel like Full of Hell could even outdo this album in the future and excites the hell out of me. It's just as ruthless. It's just as tortured. But at the same time, I feel like Full of Hell put in so much effort and time into this. That makes me happy. Not to mention, by the end of this track, it practically turns into some industrial metal jam. I am so happy. And Cellar of Doors may be a little by the books for Full of Hell, but it's just as dominating. I continue to absolutely love how genuinely suffocating this album is, even up to its closing moments. And while no, this isn't the most experimental or forward-thinking track here, it's one last absolute blast of power, and it's a freaking blast. So honestly, I think that this is Full of Hell's most ridiculously over-the-top and experimental album to date. Dare I say, their best work yet. You're going to get your grindcore, you're going to get your power violence, you're going to get your deathgrind, you're going to get all of that and more mixed in with noise rock, industrial, sludge metal, and about 6 other genres. And it all comes off fearless and genuinely forward-thinking, especially for Full of Hell. This album excites me. Go check these guys out if you haven't already. I'm feeling a decent 8 on this album, but let me know what you guys think down below. If you liked the video, be sure to give us a like, give us a subscribe, and let me know down below what you guys would like for me to chat about in the future. And until next time, have a great day, guys.